ever in that event. We'll also see the Americans, Trent Demas, who has a chance for the gold on the high bar, 9.9 the other day, and Chris Waller and Lance Ringnauld. Jim Simpson and Tim Daggett are live at the Tacoma Dome. Gentlemen, what can we expect?
I tell you what you can expect, Hannah, and that is the most enthusiastic crowd we've seen here in 3 nights. They've always been enthusiastic. They're just announcing the competitors at this moment as you hear them behind us. And again, let's be a little chauvinistic here. The Soviets, as Hannah has said, absolutely outstanding, should dominate in most of the apparatus tonight. But as she also said, here come the Americans, led by Demas and Ringnauld and Waller.
It certainly is our strongest team we've put together since the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 1984. They had a fabulous team competition, of course winning the silver, and Lance Ringnauld last night bringing home the bronze for the United States of America.
Hannah, you and Larry said it best. It's going to be a big night. Listen to them. 6 gold medals, 6 silver, 6 bronze, and we'll come back in a moment.
The great thing about tonight's competition, this is the best in the world on their best events. We should see some terrific routines and some great tricks. Larry.
Thanks, Hannah. One of our marquee sports debuts tonight, track and field. Nick Charles. It's 13 minutes after 4 in the morning. That's Moscow Live. That's why they do well in gymnastics. We'll be right back with more of the Goodwill Games. Don't go away.
Ways to get ahead in the Soviet Union was to be big in sports.
Also, they start very young.
Very young, very young. Some say it's dangerous to start that young, especially with girls.
Have you talked to your friends in Moscow at all the last couple of days?
Yeah.
What's been the reaction to the Goodwill so far?
They liked the opening. They felt it was very human. Not as grandiose, perhaps, as in '86, but there was a human touch to it that you could relate to in a better way.
The ceremonies last night.
Uh-huh.
We'll be seeing you all 17 nights, Vladimir. Vladimir Posner. Now, let's go live to Jim Simpson and Tim Daggett at the Tacoma Dome, where the men's apparatus finals are getting underway. Guys?
Thank you, Larry. They're warming up even now as we speak. And again, as we talk about the individual apparatus, let's keep in mind again that there will be 6 golds tonight, 6 silvers tonight, 6 bronzes tonight, and Sherba and Belienki and Mogini and Sherba, as we said, will all be there. The Soviets have ruled thus far and will rule probably in most of the apparatus tonight.
They have been dominant here at these Goodwill Games. They will continue to be. But the surprise of the competition has been the Americans. Of course, Lance Ringnauld, as we referred to earlier, came home with a bronze medal in the all-around championships. But, you know, that's kind of like the decathlon in track and field. Tonight, we'll see the individual events. All 6 events, the best in the world.
All right, there's a third member of our crew, and she's down on the floor right now, Kathy Johnson.
Thanks, Jim. One of the exciting aspects of event finals is that it's an opportunity for some of the gymnasts that may not have figured into the all-around competition to shine on their very best events and maybe even take home some medals. So we'll see the best of the best on their best events. Should make for a great competition. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Kathy, and the first will be the floor exercise. And again, as we take a look at the favorites, and they're not on the floor yet, I'll turn to Tim Daggett for his expertise.
Well, first of all, we have to look at Valery Lyukin. He did a triple back somersault in the first day of competition. Was fantastic. Scored a 9.9 on that event. Also, Sherba from the Soviet Union. Fantastic competitor.
But I think we should also, as we look down that list of competitors there, see no USA opposite any of those names. The floor exercise, that is where we fell apart in the team championship and rallied to take the bronze, and no one has qualified for the floor X.
That's right, and that's where, of course, you do qualify for this individual event, is in the team championships, and we had a disastrous performance. But ironically, it's where Lance Ringnauld won his bronze medal in the competition yesterday. So it really isn't that weak of an event. We just didn't have a good performance in the team championship.
And now let us take a look at one of the men. Well, he is the man. After all, Vitaly Sherba won a gold along with the rest of his Soviet teammates on Friday night in the team. And then in the all-around, there was no question his worst performance last night in all 6 apparatus was a 9.75. And yes, you heard me, that was his worst performance. And Sherba may not be a Lyukin on the floor exercise, but he is someone to watch, and he's again one of those Soviets. And the surprise to a lot of people will be that Ogini, this may be his last, as Hannah Storm said, performance internationally ever. But right now it is Vitaly Sherba, floor exercise, in the individual apparatus race for the gold, silver, and bronze.
And this boy is something else. I shouldn't really call him a boy, but he is a very young man. I believe only 18 years of age, and he has a brilliant future in front of him. Was so dominant in the all-around championships.
This is truly his coming out party internationally.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. He was asked about his performance in the competition, and he said, yesterday I was a young man, and today I am a man.
You're looking now at the officials because, of course, they will be judging, and we're waiting for the results of Jan Milbrot, the East German, who was the first to compete. And so we must wait for the officials. By the way, we'll talk more about the East Germans and their uniting with the West German team a little later on when the East Germans' best Silvio Kroll, who is a factor in this floor exercise, takes the floor. Because it is the Germans who are talking politically about their future in gymnastics, not the onlookers from outside looking in at the unification of East and West Germany.
Yeah, there have been some problems. You know, Silvio Kroll, I was speaking with him a little bit earlier, and he talked about the problems of coming back together. They're two completely different countries.
And now we go back to last night as Vitaly at this moment is waiting for the score of Milbrot of West Germany. Let's go back to last night, and this is just one of his fine performances. He is, of course, on the pommel horse.
And he is so elegant on this event. And the thing that's ironic here is he is elegant, but this stuff is as difficult as it gets on the pommel horse. From this view, of course, you see how critical it is to keep your shoulders and hips completely on balance, totally synced over the pommel horse.
The possibilities thus far have been 2 gold medals, one for team and one for all around, and this man won both of them.
Just fabulous. As we said, his future is so brilliant.
Vitaly Sherba, who like you, is now waiting, and now the score has come up for Milbrot, and it is a 9-4-5-0. So let us go from last night to tonight and get back to the floor exercises here, and Vitaly Sherba.
This, of course, is live on the floor exercise. If I had to pick one event, and it's so hard to do with a gymnast as great as Sherba, I would have to say that this is his strongest routine, and he'll show us why right off the bat. This is a double layout with a full twist. Watch this. Whoa, incredible. I can't tell you how much power is needed to do that skill. Double twist to an immediate punch front.
An appreciative crowd, and they realize not only is he good, but he's doing many things that many other gymnasts will not do.
He certainly is. But you know, the thing that sets him apart, okay, every once in a while we get a nice close-up of his face, and you notice there's no strain. He doesn't look like anything is that difficult for him. However, right there on that front to a punch front is probably the only error I've seen him make in this entire competition. He was a little bit labored, a little bit strained, but not a major deduction. Here's his dismount, as difficult as it gets. A double layout.
And he hit it. 18 years old from Mint, taking dead aim on yet another gold medal and perhaps many more tonight.
What a performer. And look at him walking off the floor. He is not even breathing hard. That was 65 seconds of all-out strength, power, everything, and he's not even breathing hard. It's incredible.
In the European Championships this year, Vitaly was first in floor exercise, and hold on, also first in vaulting and high bar.
Let's take a look at his mount one more time here. He'll do 2 complete flips laid out. Now watch this. He starts to twist, and just unbelievable.
For those of you who have not been with us the other nights, the team championship on Friday, the all-around last night, Saturday, this is what we've been witnessing and what the world has been witnessing, the expertise and the depth of the Soviet team. 9-8-2-5, 9-8-2-5. He is in medal territory, Vitaly Sherba. More on the floor exercise in a moment from the Goodwill game.
What do we mean when we say TBS is taking...
Don't you believe that Sherba's got this wrapped up at 9-8-2-5 because Lee of China has just turned into 9-8-2-5. And here's Silvio Kroll of East Germany, very capable of that kind of marker higher in the floor exercise.
He is certainly a veteran. There's an original skill. And Jim, you hit it right on the hit the nail right on the head right there. He's out of the competition for probably even a medal at this point with that error early on.
But out of the prescribed area, went out on the early pass. And now that we know that he's out of medal competition, we might say something that Sylvia Kroll said when everybody went to him and said, this is the last time that East Germany will compete as East Germany. You'll have a unified German team. What do you think of that? And he said, we have lived politically and socially different lives for 40 years. But it'll take a little time for us to get together as a team.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprising comment. At least I was surprised to hear that coming from Silvio, but it's obviously very true. They are two different countries, and now they will be one. Unfortunately, he will not win here.
Kroll is 25 years old, the best East Germans have ever produced. He's a world champion on parallel bars, world champion in vaulting, both in the 80s, in 85 and 87. He wants to be a coach, and his parents are here to watch. So thus far, it is Milbrod with a 9.450, but then after Sherba at a 9.825, Lee of China followed up with exactly the same mark. Keep in mind that down in the line, there's Liukin, who is capable of much more.
And here's where the problem happened. Right here, right off the bat, just way too much rotation, over-rotates, and that one hand goes out. That's an automatic deduction of 1/10, plus the lack of control he shows. Here's his dismount. Once again, a little bit of a step back. Nothing major, but at that point, he knows that he is out of the race. You know, when I look at Silvio, he used to be one of the toughest competitors. Lately, I have to say he's made more errors than is expected. He just doesn't look quite as intense and quite as focused as you need to be to compete in this type of a stage.
Well, we can't read into his mind, Tim, but we can certainly, you know, perhaps visualize the fact that he is thinking of all the changes in his own country, and maybe his thought processes have gone away from the intense competitiveness of gymnastics to what is going on in his world politically as a German. But we just are only just passing that along as a comment, not as a fact.
Yeah, well, we have spoken to many of the East German athletes, and they have run into many problems. The subsidies, the payments have not been what they were in the past, and many of these athletes have had to take on jobs, whereas they were only training, and that was basically their form of employment. Now they have to support themselves, as many athletes do in the West.
Now here's a fellow that you've not seen, you did not see last night, but Terry Liukin, and when he gets on this floor exercise, look out. On Friday night, he was a part of the team that won the gold medal. So let us go back in time to Friday night and watch this performance by Valery Liukin.
Let's preface this by saying that he is definitely the exception here. Watch this, a triple back. Incredible. You know, you watch that as a former athlete, and it's mind-boggling. But even the top athletes in the world marvel at that type of difficulty.
The first man ever to do the triple somersault. And now we have the score for Silvio Kroll, and it's 9.450. And so we will go to the next competitor. This is Miguel Rubio from Barcelona, Spain. And yes, that's right. In 1992, everybody will be gathering in Barcelona for the Olympic Games. He competed in the team championship as part of a mixed team, Spain, Mexico, Bulgaria, and Great Britain. But now he is on his own, going for the individual in the floor exercise.
Very good competitor. He actually trains in the United States. That's an Arabian double front, just a little bit of a step. Not quite the level of difficulty that you need in a competition of this nature. Nice full in, back out.
Miguel goes to Houston Baptist University, and as a student there in 1988, he was the all-around champion of the NCAA.
Well, he is a very good gymnast. There's no doubt about that. It's very difficult in a competition format like this. Like you mentioned earlier, Jim, he was not a member of a team, so he didn't have that unity. He didn't have the help of his teammates. He also didn't have the benefit of going up after a gymnast who's already helped to raise the score. When the Soviet's first gymnast competes, he probably scores a 9.8, and by the end of the rotation. They're somewhere near the 10 range, and he obviously doesn't have that benefit. His dismount, a nice double back, nice and clean, and a great landing.
Miguel Rubio of Spain. That's the moment the leader, Sherba, of the Soviet Union.